for the most part, an agent is an order taker. An agent does not work for you unless you have a manager, and that's a different thing. An agent is an order taker. It starts with the client coming to the agent going, hey, I need this. What do you got? And then the agent says, well, I got this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. And I was with there was a guy in Portland that booked a lot of banquets for me for 10 years. A guy named Jerry Durham, who I liked a lot and respected a lot. Jerry this is Portland, Oregon, a town of, I don't know, a million. Jerry had like 4 really good acts in his bullpen. He had Reese Thomas, a very good juggler, Joe Stoddard, he plays guitar, very, very professional, and a comedian named Dave Anderson, and then I did Comedy Magic. I love that he had these people in his bullpen. A client would say, okay, and when it would be about the right budget, he would show them, here's their videos. At the time it was, video, because VHS, is that what it was? VHS? Yeah. And he'd send them 4 VHS, and they'd pick one of us. And if they picked Joe Stoddard, I had a good chance of getting the gig the next year because Joe would go do a very good job. They would call the agent again. Who else you got? And now they so that was a good that was a good example of how an agent works. He doesn't go out and look for gigs for me. Mm-hmm. But that was a really good situation that I was in. Okay. But to get in with the agent at first is a big effort. It's a you have to. It takes a lot to get to a tipping point. There's an agent in Portland, a guy named Phil Downing. Phil was a hoofer. He wasn't a tap. Phil danced in vaudeville. Him and his wife had an act in vaudeville. That's how old he would have been, and this was the mid-'80s. It took me like 6 years to get in with Phil. I'd go visit him. I'd make personal things. I would tell him when my thing, and then, you couldn't send emails. You could make a phone call, and I would tell the secretary, hey, this is Greg Moreland again. I'm doing a show, da-da-da-da-da. You might want to come to. It took me 5 or 6 years to get in with Phil. Didn't book a single gig, but when he finally booked the first gig, he came and saw it, and then he booked me on gigs for years after that. I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years after that. And so, but it took me that long to get in, and then once I got in, he was worth a lot of, ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Mm-hmm. You gotta know that getting in,